Lucas Bergstrom, Georgi Petrovic, Alfie Gilchrist, Ronnie Statter, and Ben Chilwell. This isn't a supporting cast for another Marvel movie, but Chelsea's bench for the 0-0 draw against Bournemouth. If somebody had told you a year ago that the new Chelsea owners would spend £1 billion in the space of a year, you would have probably imagined all kinds of things but this. Why is it happening after so much spending? The obvious answer would be injuries, but is it the only reason? Let's find out. We would be lying not to acknowledge the damage caused by injuries. Reece James, Moises Caicedo, Christopher Nkunku, and arguably one of Wesley Fofana and Benoit Badiashile start for this Chelsea, sending some familiar names to the bench. And currently injured Kani Chukwuemeka, Trevor Chalobah, Romo Lavia and Armando Broja do look good enough for the bench as well. An injury-free Chelsea would probably look something like this. Variable to changes, but this gives you an idea. The names in faded grey like Mudryk, Madueke, Badiashile, Ugochukwu are bench options. Is this good, bad or average? A good way of knowing might be by comparing these to some other Premier League clubs that Chelsea aim to challenge for the top spot. That was Liverpool's bench for the win against Wolves. Newest signings Wataru Endo and Ryan Gravenberch, Luis Diaz and Darwin Núñez who start on another day, and the Academy's best graduates in Harvey Elliott and Stefan Bajcetic. Man City did have a suboptimal bench for the victory against West Ham, but with Kevin De Bruyne, Mateo Kovacic, Jack Grealish and John Stones back from injuries, and the new signing Matheus Nunes ready to play, things will be much better. And Mikel Arteta named a number of Champions League winners on the bench for Arsenal's win against Everton. England international Aaron Ramsdale set the game out for underperformance. Now try to recall if you remember the full name of Chelsea's backup goalie. Granted, Arsenal and Liverpool aren't having an injury crisis, but can you truly compare Chelsea's fully fit starting 11 and the bench to what these teams have to offer? Seasoned professionals and not just talented kids with huge price tags and expectations. Chelsea owners Todd, Boehly and Behdad Eghbali seem to be so desperate to copy the Brighton model. But someone has to tell them Brighton don't just buy kids in Latin America and resell them for 10 times the price 2 years later. Brighton schooled Man United at Old Trafford with the following squad: 31-year-old Lewis Dunk and Joel Weltman, 32-year-old Pascal Gross and Danny Welbeck, who scored the opening goal, and 35-year-old Adam Lallana. 37-year-old James Milner came on in the second half to bring composure and experience. 29-year-old Solly March, one of Brighton's best players over the last few years, missed the game with an injury. And if you think Kaoru Mitoma is a kid, think again. The Japanese winger is 26 years old. And as for big talents like Evan Ferguson, Billy Gilmour, who Chelsea easily got rid of, Joao Pedro and Ansu Fati, Brighton eased them into the squad, not throw them onto the pitch with the task to make Brighton great again. Time may prove otherwise, but at the moment it seems like the Chelsea owners are stuck in the football manager mentality, thinking that a 5-star potential is all that matters. Planning long-term is a good idea, but a scorched lawn doesn't yield crops. And it looks like at least somebody at Chelsea understands it. Mauricio Pochettino keeps calling his squad young game after game. Will Pochettino last long enough at Chelsea to see his young players grow old enough to be pushing for the top prizes, if they ever do? Or will Todd Boehly spin the fortune wheel again and pick up yet another coach, placing the same huge expectations on his shoulders but still living in his cloud cuckoo land? Back in the 90s, Sir Alex Ferguson was told that he wouldn't win anything with kids when in fact he did. But what many overlook is that young David Beckham, Ryan Giggs and Paul Scholes shared the dressing room with Roy Keane, Eric Cantona, Steve Bruce, Peter Schmeichel, Andy Cole, and the list goes on. The average age of that Man United team was 26.5 years old. That would be one of the oldest squads in the Premier League this season, 3 years older than Chelsea's. And anyway, let's not get carried away and compare Mykhailo Mudryk to a young David Beckham. What is the guarantee that these young footballers will ever come good? Can the Blues afford much time and patience when the likes of Newcastle, Aston Villa and Brighton, on top of the existing elite, are coming for their share of the pie? These are the questions for the Chelsea owners to answer. When Roman Abramovich took the club over in 2003, he was just as extravagant, if not more extravagant, with the spending. The difference is that back in the day, Chelsea focused on striking the balance between proven footballers like Champions League winners and absolute top talents, and not just the next shiny thing from Brazil for a pocket change. They made costly mistakes, but since money was never a problem, they could afford to fix them. Their squad-building ideas were just much more logical. As a result, back in the day, Chelsea had a fearsome starting 11 and the bench, not to be compared to the kindergarten these days. But perhaps Chelsea go on a massive victory streak after this video and were idiots to have made it. Do you think Chelsea owners are doing the right thing and the investment will soon pay off? Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed the analysis, like this video, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon for more content like this. See you in other videos.